Hello everyone, I'm Guildmaster Dan and welcome to the Fourth Wall. You may have noticed that I have a new picture on my wall. This bitchin' little print of Arya Stark was done by one Kayla Woodside. She and her husband Brent are a pair of artists with a substantial portfolio of fine geekery from a variety of media. Be sure to check out their websites, which I'll provide in my video description. So in doing research for a future episode, I came across A Fistful of Dice, another gaming YouTube show by Matt Click, and one of his episodes covered expressing your creativity by restricting yourself as a game master. I was intrigued by some of his thoughts, so I thought I'd jump on the train, as it were, and share my thoughts on the matter. So today, we're going to be talking about focusing your creativity as a game master. Some game masters out there would say, "Now Dan, why would I want to limit myself? Why would I want to put restrictions on what type of game world I'm going to make, or what type of story I'm going to tell, or what my players can make for my game? Isn't my goal to make a fun and creative experience by allowing myself and my players to have unrestricted expression, that we can explore whatever avenue seems fun and novel at the time?" And I'd say to them, you have a point. There's something to be said for having no limitations on exploring your own creativity. But where that really becomes an enlightening and a growing experience is when you're not used to expressing yourself without limitations. And it goes the opposite way, too. If you're used to only working with every whim and every novel idea that you can get your hands on, and you never limit yourself, the reverse can be helpful. By limiting yourself, by setting walls to your game and to your story, you present yourself with new opportunities to explore your creativity. What do I mean by that? Well, let me put it this way. By having unrestricted access to all of your whims and all of your ideas, what you do is you have a great many details. You have a universe of details. Your mind is endless, and you can have endless creativity and ideas, and you have details for every single one of those ideas, and they just spread on forever. That sounds awesome, doesn't it? It sounds great. But when you're trying to tell a story, or when you're trying to make a contained experience, such as a game, or a art piece, or a movie, those millions and billions and trillions of details out there can be pretty distracting. It can be pretty daunting to look at this universe of thoughts and creativity, and then realize that I have to put that, or at least something from there, one of those billions of ideas, into this contained experience. That can be really hard. And a lot of new game masters, as Matt Click on his show pointed out, fall into the trap of thinking too big. They see all these great ideas and, they just want to grab and include them all into their game and make this big world, and they just burn themselves out. Everything gets too cluttered, and it seems like it doesn't really fit together, or maybe they force it to fit together, but it's so much work getting things just right that they end up burning themselves out and deciding, this isn't for me. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I should be just a player. Well, limitation can help you in this situation. The neat thing about limiting yourself is, let's take a tiny portion of this entire universe. Let's take just one section. Let's take one idea. Now, Why would I want to take that one idea out of those billions out there? All those great thoughts, those novel ideas, these limitless expression. Why would I want to take this one expression? Two reasons. One, this is a contained experience. A game, a campaign, a session. These are units. They are a contained experience. Now, granted, a campaign can be endless. A lot of old school gamers think of campaigns as being an ongoing session. The one second edition game that I've played in has been going on for 20 years real time, or 20 plus years real time, because it's endless. New players come in, the world just keeps going on. That can be a campaign. That seems endless. But a campaign is still a closed thing. There's still a set number of variables in there. Same thing for a session or an adventure. So that's the first thing. All those other ideas are distractions from your set thing. You cannot have limitless ideas into your set unit. You have your set unit and everything that will fit inside of it. That's it. Everything else is a distraction. Second, we have our set unit now. Everything within our set unit is full of details and can be explored. By deciding on what will fit nicely into the set unit, gives you the opportunity of exploring the details therein. Let's take Dungeons & Dragons 3.5. This is a game, or an edition of a game, that has hundreds of supplements out there. Lots of ideas, lots of different races, lots of different classes, lots of different optional rules, and a lot of game masters out there don't put restrictions on which of them can be used in the game. The analogy still works. All of these supplements, all of these ideas, all these great races and classes and whatnot, they're that limitless universe of expression. But your session or your adventure that you're going to be leading your players on is a set unit. Now, we could allow players to grab and pick from all these different supplements and grab whatever meets their fancy to shove into this box of the unit. And maybe we can get it to fit. We typically do. Well, now your box is kind of fragmented. See, it's actually not. What it's trying to do is it's trying not to be a box. Because everything inside the box, everything inside the unit is grabbing out and kind of trying to grab at all these different ideas that all these components came from, rather than exploring within the unit what's going on. Let's take a single race. Take a single race out of D&D 3.5. It doesn't even have to be one of the base races. Take one of those races that you really like. Drow are really popular. Take the Drow. Have your unit be determined by the Drow. Okay. What can we do with that now? We've cut off all these great ideas out there. Dan, we're really limiting ourselves here to just one race. That feels really claustrophobic. Calm down. It's okay. It's not bad yet. We have the Drow in our unit, right? So what can we do with that? Explore the Drow. Think about that. When you have a party with lots of classes and lots of races, they're bringing with each of them a ton of details from outside and coming in and not really forming a cohesion. Everybody's Drow. Now, everybody still wants to be an individual. They all want to be unique. They have to think of, how's my Drow different from the other Drow? Okay, well, all right, how do I do that? Well, I have to figure out how Drow can be different. What are their societies like? What's their culture like? What sort of characters can grow in this culture? I like playing certain classes. Okay, well, what sort of person would come out of that culture that would fit into that class? Okay, you have your players exploring this environment that you've set. We've set our environment to the Drow, and now you have your players exploring the intricacies of it and trying to figure out how they can still come up with something that they like to play and is fun and creative, but they're doing it within this set space. All right, great. Let's go past that. We get to the point where on your side we need to make the story. Well, all right, sure, we've cut off all those other ideas, and now we're in this drow space. What are we going to do with this drow space? Well, the drow have stories, they have background. Same thing as your players. You go in and you explore the intricacies of the drow and find out, what threats they have, what possibilities for stories do they have to tell, and play with that. All right, now we've taken our drow space and we've added our internal setting. We're going to start in a drow city, and we're going to do the political intrigue in that city. We're going to explore the different drow ideas that we've come up with to explore. All right, so now we have all these characters, all these player characters who have explored the intricacies of the drow to come up with their own unique drow, and now they're put into this own unique drow city that you created, and going to interact with all the unique drow characters that you've created and explore all the unique drow stories that you've left there, and the details are just building on each other. So now we have our drow space, and we've increased our engagement in our players and in ourselves by really digging in deep into the details of what it means to be a drow and be in a drow setting. Now, when it comes time that maybe we want to expand, maybe we want to explore something new, that we can reach out into that vast universe of ideas and bring down another unit, another adventure, and slide it on to the end of our previous adventure, of our previous unit. And now in this new unit, where we explore the surface world and humans, now these unique drow players that come up into the light really have much more meaning in their interactions with this new race and this new setting. Now, these very drow characters that they've created are encountering very not drow settings and peoples. Now, their interactions become a lot more authentic, a lot more entertaining, and a lot more meaningful. And we got all of this just by limiting our ideas and exploring the details of the restrictions that we've set. That's what can happen when you allow yourself to be creative within your set space by setting your boundaries. And there's nothing wrong with setting boundaries for a game. Just be upfront with your players. Tell your players, I want to explore a game where we're all wizards. I want to run an adventure where everybody's wizards and explore that idea. Or maybe I just want to run with base races because I've made up some stuff in the past and I'd like to use like those countries or whatever. Or if you're a new game master, just tell them I really just want to start my game in a city and really focus on that city. And really there's only like 2 or 3 races there or less. That's perfectly okay. Just be upfront with your players and let them know what you want to try and, see if they're okay with that. More often than not, they're going to be, because they're going to be willing to explore the ideas. But by making these limitations, you can really focus your creativity and really have a lot of fun digging in deep and learning what it means to be in that space that you've created. Admittedly, this is a difficult concept to get across, especially to anyone who's never experienced it before. But, I've made my best shot in explaining through example and analogy how you can explore and be creative in a space that you've limited yourself to. But, maybe there was something that you disagreed with or you didn't understand, or even an insight that you'd like to add. Well, as always, if you have one of those thoughts, feel free to leave a comment below and like, share, and subscribe so we can keep the conversation going. I'd love to continue talking about this or do a follow-up episode if there's anything that anyone would like to add. But, for now, I've said what I've had to say, and I hope that you guys, I hope I articulated myself well enough for you. So, for now, as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.